This time of the month again, welcome to the last Tuesday of the month and the full council meeting. Just a couple of, one bit of housekeeping. We've had quite a few people telephone into council that they cannot hear what councillors have to say on webcam, so if you can be conscious of keeping the microphone as close as possible when you're speaking, that would be great. So firstly, I would just like to call for apologies, please. And we have two. We have apology from Kirsty Truman, and I hope Kirsty and her baby are mending fast. Kirsty's had some problems with her baby, but I think on the mend. And Councillor Kurt, who's also down in bed today with the flu. So moved by Councillor Downard, and a seconder by Councillor Johnson. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you. Moving straight away to agenda item number 1 is a presentation from Destination Great Lake Taupo, and I'd just like to welcome the chair of the trust of the board, Mr. Paul Winter, and the CEO, Mr. Scott Pearson. So welcome, guys, and we're all ears.
Welcome everybody. Hi everybody. It's good to be here again and good to give you an update on our 6 monthly report. I'm going to start off today taking you through the last 6 months and some of the progress that we've made over the last couple of years as well. And then I'll be handing over to our chairperson, Paul Winter, who will be taking you through our proposed statement of intent into the 12-13 year. So I guess the last 6 months, 6 to 8 months, have certainly had their challenges. I just wanted to quickly point out a couple of the key things we've had to work through as a visitor industry. One of the obvious ones is weather, and certainly through the ice sites we've noticed that a lot of the bookings have been down through months such as November and October, and also through January. So what that effectively means is we've had people here that have wanted to book activities, and those activities that are weather affected, we've had a number of cancellations in those areas. But that said, with a wet January and February, we've still, I feel, performed very well, all things considered. The other obvious challenge that we're working with at the moment is the European financial crisis and all of the other financial issues that the world's currently dealing with. We are starting to see some impacts of this on the European visitor arrivals into the country, as well as some other changes such as in the Australian market where they're tightening their belts as well, or their wallets. Just today I'm going to take you through a couple of key areas. One is an activity update on some of our key projects. Secondly is regional figures, just to give you an update on how we're doing. And I know that it's important that the councillors wanted to see the impacts that our campaigns are having. And finally, I'm just going to take you through just some forward-thinking areas. So first of all, Rugby World Cup. This was obviously a big piece of focus for both Destination Great Lake Taupo and also other agencies throughout the district. The other thing I want to take you through is the 3 major domestic campaigns, and they have been very much based around the Grab It campaign, the Spring Summer Memories campaign, and also the Autumn campaign. So beginning with the Rugby World Cup, it's fair to say there were some interesting dynamics in terms of the visitors coming through, both for our domestic New Zealand visitors and also the internationals. What we did notice was that in August a lot of people decided to travel pre-Rugby World Cup. We also note that the weather in August was extremely good after a pretty ordinary July. So we were actually 31% up in terms of our guest nights through that period. That also should be noted that was the same month that we were very much pushing the Grab It campaign. So that was a great result for August. In terms of September, the net result that we saw there, based off the commercial accommodation monitor, was a net gain of 8,000 nights. It's fair to say that not all of the nights are captured by the commercial accommodation monitor, as there are a number of people who did stay in private accommodation while they were here, and also private camper vans and those sorts of things. In In terms of October, this was an interesting month. We actually had a net loss of 4,600 nights, and this is very much due to the displacement of our usual domestic visitors. So we're actually 9,500 down on our usual domestic visitation. But that said, overall, we still feel that the Rugby World Cup had a very positive impact on our region, and particularly in the visitor spend area. We did get a lot of people here that were interested in doing activities. And, for example, in September, we were 105% up on our commission bookings through the eyesights, just to give you an example. There was also some extended stay post-Rugby World Cup, and we saw that extend into November. And we also saw the return of some other markets that aren't so focused on rugby, such as the Germans, etc., that came through to start their usual trek on the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, etc. Okay, so in terms of the big high-profile campaigns, this Grab It campaign was the first time we decided to run this. I think you all would have seen the presentation back in earlier last year, but basically this is very much a deals and packages focused campaign. The idea was to encourage people to travel in a time of year that they wouldn't normally travel. So, to say, just to run you through some of the results of that focus. We had 140 businesses participate. We had good joint venture investment. We actually had more investment from other sectors as well, which is a really important aspect of this campaign. So we had retailers, some service providers, right across the whole spectrum of business in the community. In terms of visitors to our website, this was a major KPI for us. You see there the figure, 67,500, and that was 50% up on the previous year. So that's a major result in our view. Online bookings at 16,000. We're finding that online bookings isn't the booking channel of choice for visitors coming here. And so, as I say, I wouldn't dwell on that figure as being a low result. It's really just an indication for us as to how well our new booking channels are working online. One of the big things we did do with this campaign was partner with Air New Zealand, and you'll see there we had a very good referral rate by working with Grab a Seat and their consumer database. In terms of that campaign period, we had 8,930 operator products that were viewed, and a big part of our job is to make sure that we bring people through to this region, whether we bring them through digitally or we bring them through in person. And the last figure there is very important as well, 1,153 referrals, the people that came through our site through the campaign period and then went on to operator websites. And as I say, a lot of this worked very well because people are looking for specials and deals at the moment. We're not just promoting discounting, but certainly through this off-season for us, it's a very effective campaign, and we will be repeating it again in winter this year. Our spring-summer campaign was very much focused around great memories for Great Lake Taupo. I think this picked up a very good response from the industry and also from a lot of people in the community who felt it was reigniting that nostalgia that this destination very much has, encouraging people to think about travelling. Had a little bit of fun with this campaign, and as I say, I think we got a lot of support behind us. In terms of the success of it finished on February the 6th, and some key points to note there were the 70 local businesses involved. Again, you can see some excellent industry investment and matched funding. Again, 45% up, or 82,000 visitors to our website, and significantly up on the previous year. I won't run through each of these items. I'll let you peruse through them yourself, but you can see there we worked with some electronic direct mail through the AA database, and that there was 6,000 qualified visitors coming through to our site. And by that I mean we targeted 90,000 of the AA's best or most likely to travel members, and then from that we got 6,000 through to our website looking at listings and activities and thinking about visiting. So that was a good result. You can see there again 7,000 operator products viewed, 702 referrals directly to websites. And another thing to note is the launch of our new mobile website. You can see there 2,700 visitors which came through. And so this is an area that is definitely a focus for us going forward, because we're finding that we've had over 300% growth in mobile traffic since last year, and I'd say it'll be another 300% going into next year. So it's definitely a space to watch. This brings us to our third high-profile campaign, which is the autumn campaign, which is currently out in the marketplace. We've gone for a slightly different focus with this campaign. It's again very much a brand awareness and building campaign, as opposed to Grab It, which was more focused on conversion. So what this does is it very much promotes the free natural assets of our region, and we believe a lot of people want to come here for a mixed experience of free and paying activities. So we've invested in a number of areas to make sure that people are seeing these messages on billboards, in the online space, and also through a number of different print channels. Just another example there of this particular shot is currently on the Kaipa Pass in Auckland. It's a 14 metre by 6 metre billboard that's up there for the month of March. And as I say, that these sorts of things are getting noticed out there. We'll be measuring their effectiveness through our visitor survey in April, and as I say, this will give us an indication of how well these are being seen. Just an idea, Marcus Lush was one of the key people that we brought down recently to go and walk the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, visit the National Trout Centre, and do a number of activities, particularly down in the Turangi-Tongariro area. And this has been a major focus for us through this campaign, is to really push this area and the activities you can do in that particular region. Just for your information too, Marcus had an article in the Sunday Star Times just this last weekend. So it's that's the kind of thing. He's got a very good readership, and that's how we can get our name out there. It's not all about domestic. We do very much focus on our international markets as well, and that's a key part of building midweek business. And also, helping to extend our shoulder seasons outside of the key domestic holiday periods. There's a couple of things that I think you should note here on our activity. One is visits to Kiwi Links. These are basically international trade training workshops overseas. And what I mean by that is we're training the travel agents, we're training the wholesale product managers, and all the people that are in the distribution channels that book people on trips to New Zealand. So I've been to North America, UK, Europe, India and Australia, and we're starting to look more into Asia as well and what we can do there. We also work with a number of joint venture partners, Great New Zealand Touring Route. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment, but joint ventures into Australia. Central Park as well, we're currently working with them for this current autumn and going into the winter ski season. Active traveller focus. Just to remind you again what this is all about, it's very much about channeling visitors once they get into the country. We know at the moment it's a tough job attracting people offshore, so we feel it's a better spend for us to target those visitors that are already in the country. And as I say, part of our network of advertising and marketing is to funnel those people to our region. Paul will be mentioning a little bit more about that in his presentation. The other thing that we're working with, and I think doing effectively, is continued public relations, or PR, both now and more aggressively in New Zealand, but also in Australia. And the document that I've circulated is to give you an indication of our latest PR report, and that'll give you an idea of the sorts of people we're targeting in Australia. In terms of investment, that's been about a $25,000 investment for over the last sort of 6 to 8 months. You'll see there some of the figures in terms of the readership and also the value that's generated. We are just checking the value because for that $25,000 spend, they're indicating a value of $700,000 of that equivalent advertising. A big reason for that is that we're producing what we call editorial, so it's articles written by people that have come here and stayed, as opposed to articles or advertising that we've written. So media perceive that there's a much higher value if the article's genuine and it's much more believable. So, as I say, just look at those value figures with a little bit of caution, but it will give you an indication that we're definitely well and truly exceeding the investment we're putting into this area. Digital marketing as well, very quickly, we are investing in AdWords in Australia, and this is one of the most cost-effective spends you can do. that basically means that when people are searching online, there's keyword searches for our region. We're making sure we're right at the top for those keywords, and that's been very effective. Just that Great New Zealand Touring Route joint venture that we're doing around this is a partnership between the Central North Island RTOs, or Regional Tourism Organisations. We've just changed the name of this to Explore Central North Island. I think the Mayor will be pleased to see we've got the X and the Explore there. But basically this is a new look for this particular joint venture. We've got a trade show in Auckland. I'll be leaving this afternoon to go to that, and that's bringing together all of the different regions within the Central North Island. So we've spearheaded that, and I'm pleased to say that we're getting really good pickup from all of the buyers and all of the inbound operators and all of the corporate businesses in Auckland. They now have an opportunity to come to one centralised trade show and find out about all the different travel experiences and also accommodation providers, etc., all in one spot. Okay, just to get into some figures here and to give you an indication of how we're doing. The commercial accommodation monitor does have its limitations in terms of not picking up the holiday home market, and also the B&B and private stays that register below 30,000 a year. But what it does show us is the majority of the commercial accommodation sector. And I just wanted to point out a couple of key things here. One of the most significant is that we've had 2.6% growth on the last 12 months to the year ending December. Now, if you go back and look at the track record, it's fair to say we've been in decline since August 2005, and that was the year ending August 2005. I'll just show you on the mouse, hopefully you can see this graph okay, but basically where we started working on these matched domestic campaigns was in here in August 2010 when we did our brand launch. The mouse has disappeared, I'll just bring it back. We then, through this period, over the next 6 months, managed to arrest this decline and start heading back towards a positive growth trend. This here is April of this year, and you can see again coming through into July. Just to give you an idea, this period here is where we did our Grab It campaign into August. This period here is when we've had Rugby World Cup and also run our Spring-Summer campaign. So you can see here a very positive trend line that is, it's fair to say, a heck of a lot better than what we've had in the past. So I'm confident that there is a strong correlation here between our marketing and that of the introduction of these domestic campaigns. As I said before, it's also about our international marketing as well, and making sure that we are bringing the internationals through. And we're keeping an eye on this through a number of different means. Just to take you through a couple of other things, the Convention Bureau, we've certainly changed our tack here, and we've brought in a new Bureau Manager, Karen Rainbow. She's originally from the Hooker Prawn Park, and she's doing a fantastic job to reignite this area. She's got a very strong sales focus in her present role. We've got the operators working together. And just a recent example of activity is a mega mill which we ran, which brought 11 key corporate, what we call event organisers from Wellington. And the response from that mega mill was very, very positive, and we've already received bookings going forward for business events in the region. We're also just showing you here a new positioning for our Convention Bureau. We are looking to use this positioning or this marketing presentation through a number of different advertising channels as well. And as I say, it's all about making sure we keep rejuvenating our current branding, and this is another example of doing that. I mentioned that we're trying to keep an eye on what's happening in the region, and one of the things we have struggled with in the past is our access to good data. Now, this tourism monitor is something that we've launched in November this year. We have 40 businesses involved, and it's fair to say we've got the following sectors involved: accommodation, activities, attractions, retail, hospitality and transport. But this monitor is starting to give us some good indications, but we are currently finding it a little bit hard to get complete buy-in from the 40 businesses involved. So we're working with them currently to make sure that the data they're giving us is as accurate as possible. We're actually going to reschedule our base month for this monitor for the current month in March. And what we want it to do year on year is to show us the trends that are happening through our industry. So basically, rather than relying on the commercial accommodation monitor, this is telling us exactly what's happening to key businesses. So it's telling us their revenue results, it's telling us exactly how many guest nights they've had, and in some cases telling us the origins of their visitors. So as I say, this is something that we're working on, but we're absolutely determined to get this going and keep it going. Just one other piece of, well, I guess in terms of performance, I just want to show you one other graph, and this is the results of our website and our digital activity. So I'll just take you through and show you. This blue line represents our web unique visitors through the previous year, and the previous year I'm talking about is July 2010 through to June 2011, and what you're seeing